Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine here with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast, and I'm here with my bro Myrick Coil, who is now back-to-back national champions and back-to-back world champions. Congratulations!
Thanks, Ray. It's good to be back home for a few days. It's great always to be in Key West, but you're there long enough that you're ready to go home. So just like you, I think you got a little bit sick. I heard you and Carter, and
I was bedridden for several days last week, and it's a bad one.
You meet so many people, and it's just then you're burning the wick at both ends. So yeah, but appreciate the you acknowledging the World Championship. It was hard fought, and we did good in the Class 1 boat. We got second, which if you'd have told me we'd have got second, I'd have been happy with that going into that week. I mean, you always want to win, but I don't know. It's that 222 boat is the boat to beat, and obviously it was that way every race too. So we're making changes to the boat already.
What an accomplishment. I mean, your first season, brand new boat, put it together just in time to make the first race in Cocoa Beach. And then fast forward to the end of the season and you take second place overall in the World Championships among the best in the world.
Yeah. I'd be, the only thing we're missing out is Steve and Travis, or Steve and Britt.
Right.
But yeah, and they would have been a hard fought team. But DF Young was there. DeFalco was tough to beat one day. I mean, we couldn't get around him, and we broke a power steering hose. And then of course Johnny Tomlinson and his partner in the boat, Carlos de Casada, and Pothole Heroes. Yeah, so it was a long but seems super short season from the start of when you're thinking like, hey, 35 days before the race, we have to have this Class 1 boat going and film crews and the pressures of competing, and then the ups and the downs, and then towards the middle of the year getting it kind of figured out, and then towards the end of the season start podium, and then getting podiums, and then the end of the season ending up in second place at the World Championships against an unbelievable team of the 222 Australian Army in their victory boat with the 1100 turbos, just like we run. But they've had the boat for many years, and they've had one heck of a crew, and those two in the boat are really awesome. So every time I see that boat run, I always tell Tyler, I was like, man, I want to feel what that thing feels like, because it looks awesome.
It really does. I mean, all season long, right? The 222 offshore, the Navy boat has just been out in front, and just tough to catch. And Key West was no exception. But to your point, you said you want to know what that feels like. You guys had that advantage in the Super Cat class. I mean, you guys would each 3 races jump out in front and nobody could catch you.
Yeah, I just saw a video today that came out, and I think you had something to do with it, but it was filmed by X Insurance, and it was the day 2 day 2 race, and it was like the race almost in its entirety, but it had the Super Cats, when we were all close together there, when we were mixing it up with Dirty Money and with SV Offshore. The Gray Dell boat had a pretty significant lead on us, but then from what I was told, lost an MSD box. So, we were able to get around them pretty easily at that point. But yeah, it was some of the best racing that we had in the Super Cat class, on that Friday race, mixing it up with everybody. And I was happy to see SV Offshore out there, and Dirty Money too. I mean, they've put a lot of time and money and effort and multiple boats and crew and all that stuff to come out and definitely be a contender going into next year. I mean, I had talked to Bo and Britt and Bill had even said, we learned a lot down here at the event, and I picture them being right up front next year. So,
well, you had said that, right? I mean, that you've always said that Key West is the biggest learning curve you can have, because you're racing 3 different times,
yeah,
with a day of testing in between, and
yeah, and conditions. It just goes to show, what I learn a lot is, it goes to show how little of a weather change, wind direction change, wave, tides, uh, that little change, and what makes us better at, which I wouldn't say makes us better, but our experience, of course. But Tyler being a madman on the throttles helps. But the amount of time that we take into testing, and then all of Tyler's data going back and saying that, so we're talking half pitches of propeller, so I'm not going to say what pitch we ran, but I'm talking
right,
half pitches. So, our propellers range from 28 to 36 in that class. So, but you're talking a half a pitch, you're talking diameter, you're talking rake, and then weight. So, and then drive height too. But every race was different. So we ran different weight, we ran different uh, propellers in every race, and we also, you know, I mean, just had a different strategy. First
yeah,
day, I think we drew position 2. Second day, position 9 or 10, and then third day, position 3 or 4. So, it was, and it was strictly draw every time, which is, out of the norm for us. But it added a level of excitement in the drivers' meetings in the mornings and stuff
yeah,
like that, to, you don't know that you're going to go out and be the pole, because class 1, it was finishing order from the previous race. So, you do good, you're up front; you do bad, you're in the back.
right,
And the super cat class and the super stock class, it was both kind of just roll of the dice at the beginning of each race. So, yeah, the performance boat center boat was not great. First day we missed the setup, we went a little too big. Second day we came around and we're doing better. We just ran the boat a little bit tight, and we're trying to be cautious, trying to make to that Sunday race. Then Sunday race, let it all hang out, and actually dipped it in, come into the bay, put it on its starboard sponson, kind of shot across. Bill Allen ran into the back port corner of us because of our mishap, and he went over. We tried to keep going on the restart, but then all kinds of alarms were going off because our cowling was crushed and things like that. And
yeah,
I really feel terrible about causing them to wreck. I was sick to my stomach, and then I heard they got out of the boat, and I'm still just sick to my stomach about it, a week and a
yeah,
half later now. But I never want to cause an accident or be the one. But I went up to Bill right after the race, and he was, hey man, it's racing, and he was very cordial. And
yeah,
my apologies go out to, I always say you got to be there on Sunday, and we were, and we were running as hard as we could. Bill had spun out, or not spun completely out, but in turn 2 spun, and we had gotten a run on him because of that. And then, so going into the bay, we had maybe a half a boat to a boat length lead. And we were battling for, I think, 3rd and 4th place. And then the boat just went in, and people saw videos of it. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's you can say, well, what could you have done? You could run the boat tighter and be in the back of the pack and not have
right.
that incident happen. So it's one of those things. It's a catch-22. It's you got to try to win, and when you're trying to win, sometimes shit happens.
Well, Billy's such a good guy. I mean, I'm sure, like, he let you off the hook, and I'm sure he knew that it wasn't intentional. It was just racing on a
Well,
holiday.
and that's what I want to go over. He actually mentioned to me going out. He goes, "Man, I wish you'd have gave me more room going out to one." And he goes, "Because I feel that you were pitching me more." And to be honest, he's on my left side and I'm on the right side of the boat, so there's really the perspective isn't there. I felt him bump me, and then at that point, you realize that he's there, and it's not like, I mean, you say a bump. I mean, it's not as, you hear it more than you feel it in the boat. And going into one, so then I moved over a little bit, and he went around us on the inside, but that's, the next turn is when he spun, and then we got around him. So we were definitely battling it out. And I mean, all you can do is, apologize and swallow your pride and try not to do it again. I mean,
well, I mean, it's such a opposite end of the coin with the MCon Monster Energy boats, and then PBC just had a rough Key West, and overall,
I mean, and it also goes to show how good the guys in Superstock class are getting. I mean, you go out there and, knock on wood, there wasn't a lot of crashes, but there was more close calls out of my windows. Not saying that, I was in them, but you look over and LPC is airborne beside you, landing on one motor and tossing it in on the starboard sponson. You look out your window and here's Jackhammer airborne. You're like, how did these things make it through? It's just one event after the other. Talking about 4,900 pound boats, that run. I'd say we were out on the outside. We were seeing 100, a little over 100 coming into the bay, 109, 110 on the good runs. So, they are 20 miles an hour slower than the Super Cats, but they're wild. So, and then you put, 11 of them out there in, not calm conditions. It tosses them around, and feel sick about
we
it.
posted a video today of all you guys racing towards turn one, and you just see everybody kissing each other. I think it was North Wing and Bermuda.
Yeah, North Wing and the guys from Bermuda, Team Bermuda. I mean, they basically just bumped them all the way around the turn. North Wing just rode on their port side, and I didn't know that had happened. It's one of those things. I mean, if you lift a little bit, you're in the back, and and people go, "What happened?" You're trying to play it safe a little bit. You don't want to crash. You don't want to crash anybody. But if you're not riding on the edge, you're in the back. So
Well, that being said, another dominant performance from Team Jackhammer, who also won 3 days in a row in that hyper competitive class.
Yeah, it's another one of the boats I want to ride in. It's like, man, I want to feel that to see what, I'm not necessarily see what I need to do, but that thing is, it looks, there's times to where it looks like so under control, and then the next thing, and it's landing on its nose, and it doesn't slow down. It just blows me away. I'll be like, he just took a flyer. We're gonna catch him a little bit, and then he just keeps pulling away from me, and I'm like, man, it's one of those things. It's racing, and and I've always heard it, and I believe it too. You look out the window, the boat beside you always looks a little bit more under control, and but not with that one. I'm always telling Reese, I was like, I mean, in Reese, I love talking to him because he's such a joker, but he I always like, what do you do to keep that thing straight? And I don't know, man. It's hilarious. Vinny's always messing with him in the driver's meeting. Langham. It's hilarious because we have to, driver record has to say their last name, and when Reese talks, he's got a unique voice to him, and it's hilarious. Because Vinny always looks over at me every time and starts laughing. But Reese can take it. He hands it out, and he can take it just as good.
Yeah, for sure. And I was talking with him, and he was telling me, that he's got a throttleman change this season with he used to run with Ricky Maldonado, and now he's running with his son Julian. And he said just from the get-go, they just had a really good chemistry, and they've just done really well.
Obviously. I mean, definitely the boat to beat in super stock.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah.
I actually heard the boat was for sale, but I don't know for sure now, because I think I had saw it advertised with, new motors and ready for next year's racing, but I don't know if anything's happened.
Yeah.
I heard that actually heard that Reese was moving up to Super Cat, and but I haven't heard any as the propeller turns, is what a lot of people say. So, you know, and then everybody comes and starts, I don't know, talking shit or talking about, why are all these boats for sale? Why are all these super stock boats? Well, obviously it's the end of the season. You're not going to sell them in the middle of the season. So, LBC's for sale. I think I saw Coco Monkey for sale. But
Billy Allen's boat was for sale.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah. So yeah, with those boats being for sale, obviously that's when you put them for sale. You don't put them for sale in the middle of the season. So I mean, I guess you could, and then say contingent on the fact that we're racing it to the end of the season, but then you'll have the person that says, no, I want to buy it now, and I want to race Key West, when you're like, what? No, I want to do that. So anyway.
Right. So, I mean, obviously for us, we had a really busy week with Speedboat and covering everything. And then I can't even imagine what your schedule was like, racing 3 different teams, Class 1, Super Cat, and the Super Stock. Walk us through what your week was like.
Wow. Yeah. It's funny. A lot of people talk about it, and I don't know whether I block it out, knowing that it's going to be a busy week, and that's how my mind prepares,
Right.
because I try not to think of like each individual lap or what a beating I'm going to be taking, or what scenario is going to happen. So I like to say, hey, let's ask me how I'm doing on Sunday, and we'll go from there.
Right. Yeah.
But so you go through, you get there, you set up, you go through the we actually boated down in a customer's 50 MTI that we're bringing down to sell. So we got it there and got it in the marina on Saturday and got it washed on Sunday. Got the pit set up. Jason and Ian and Rusty and all those got the boats. I mean, we had a truck lose a transmission on the way down. We had a once we got there, we had a t-shirt trailer break a leaf spring. So Greg was dealing with that on the way down. And then, so we get everything washed. We had to switch trucks around to get, a better looking truck pulling the boat through the parade. We get train horns set up. Got a little guy here giving me hugs, telling me he loves me. Aww. Say hi, Cam.
Hi, Cam. What's up, buddy?
So, anyway, so parade goes off, and it's pretty much a drive-through parade, but it's epic.
The Sunday parade.
The Sunday parade, it's like 10 people deep on each side of the street, and it's like no other parade that you don't stop at that you have all year. So, and it's a lot of people that are just basically on Duval Street that don't even know the boat races are happening, but they just come out of the woodwork or the bars, as you want to call it, to the street to see what's happening, because we got train horns and music and everything playing. Most of the time, what blows me away is you're down there, you see like all these different NFL football jerseys, because they're all in the bars watching football, and they all come out. So it's a pretty neat thing, me being a football fan. And so you go through that, then Monday, meetings, registrations, making sure that you have all your medical, all of your everything basically. And then you start testing on Tuesday. So 3 boats. Actually, the stock boat felt really good, and then we caught a giant wave off of the wall and stood it up. I thought I mean, I talk about making it to Sunday. We about didn't make it to Wednesday, and it was that big a one.
Yeah.
And But then we had water pickups issues that we had to deal with on class 1, just because it was a new setup, and that went flawlessly. Billy did a great job building some of these water pickups that we had to modify because of a skater design, and their idea was a good idea. We just had to modify it to make it a little bit better. So it got better, and actually the first try worked, and we went with that, and then the Super Cat, the one that we obviously did the best in, is probably the one that we did the least on that Tuesday. Then you go through the Wednesday's race. I think it was first place Super Cat, and they kind of spread it out. We raced early in the morning in one boat, then raced early afternoon in another, then raced late afternoon in the other. So that was pretty nice. But when it came to the Friday race and testing on Thursday, they put me 4, 5, and 6. So I raced at 12:30, 1:30, 2:30.
Yeah.
That got a little tough, especially with no gap in between two of the races, because they keep the helicopters flying. It's what a lot of people don't realize. They're like, why is there such a gap between? Because helicopters got to go back, refuel, cool off, refire, and then head back out there. So that gives you about 25 to 45-minute gap. And all of that, it was great, except for the two races back to back. And then in class 1, I have to wear a fire suit, so you're sweaty and you got to get this tight fire suit on, and Roderick's basically on the radio yelling at us to get out there. So you get out there and you start racing, and we get in a heated battle with DF Young for second. I mean, really going at it, like trying to get in around him, and we broke a power steering line. We actually finished the race, but it was like lap 7 or 8 of 10 laps to when this happened, and we had to go around the rest of the race with, I didn't have any steering. Tyler's turning the boat with the throttles around the corners, and
Wow.
it was sucky. So I would say, of the ups and downs, other than the Sunday and the stock class, those were my two biggest downs, dipping it in and causing Team Allen to crash, and then the failure of the power steering line that made us go around and just have to limp around the course. Those would be the two negatives. And for as much racing as we did, that that isn't the end of the world, but of course you don't want to have any negatives. We actually stay the day after and help Jason tear the tent down, and Ian try to get everybody loaded up, and then we go off and we do a little afternoon day drink in there in Key West, because you're kind of there for the you're there to race, and everybody else has been drinking and having a good time the whole time, but you've been
Right.
working or racing, whichever way you want to look at it. And we went down to the Sunset Pier, and Greg was talking about, man, I can't believe how many times you went around this course this weekend, because we're staying there at the course, and now you look out there and there's no buoys, there's no boats, and it's just like this calm, serene, sunset going down. You're like, I can't believe the World Championships were just here yesterday, because
Right.
it was, a madhouse with people, madhouse with boats, all that. And he said, how many laps did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. And then we'd start doing the math, and I completed 85 laps. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's like, and it's hard to believe at that point. I'm like, man, 85 times past this pier, is a lot it was like a 4.7 mile course. It
And
wasn't
those are just
like,
race laps, right? That's not
yeah,
counting
just
practice.
race laps. That's no testing laps. That's
Yeah.
just 85 laps
Wow.
before, so I think obviously the goal was to do 90 some, but didn't get that accomplished with the engine messing up after we put it in on its side and blew the cowling apart on the super stock boat, the fast diesel system performance boat center boat. So yeah, but 85 laps in
That's insane.
Key West is a lot.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that I don't know if anybody's ever done it, but if they have, kudos to them, because it's hot. The conditions are changing, by the minute. it's crazy feeling the difference in the water with just tide change. Not even the wind change, just the tide change, how much the water changes. So you're sitting there, man, it just feels different. And Tyler would always go, it's got to be the tide. He's just trying to, feel the scientific reason for it. So then we
Sure.
look at the tide and we're like, oh yeah, it's changing. It's not slack tide, because I think slack was usually around 1:30 in the afternoon, but either sometimes we were racing at 10:45, other times we were racing at 3:30. That 1:30 race wasn't bad because it was slack tide at that time. It was usually high tide at 1:30. So it's something else to watch, and another variable to throw in the mix to blow your mind, which, start to get, I don't know, strung out, tired, and beat up and hot. And if you're not in the front, you're wondering what you're doing wrong, and things like that. So, and then you have people and friends and fans and owners and bosses that are asking you what's wrong, and it starts to accumulate and wear on you. So when it's done, you're like, man, I've had enough racing for this week.
Right.
It's probably like the guys that do the Baja 1000 or whatever. It's like after they're done with it, they're like, shit, man, thank goodness that's over with. But at the point that you're in it, you don't even realize how much you're putting into it. So,
well, we caught up with you after the racing, generally on each day, but especially after Sunday, after everything was done. And you were still in good spirits despite what happened on the course with PBC and Alan Longcare. And we went out afterwards and had some drinks together, and you were in it to win it.
I don't know if it's not like I'm a pillar of fitness, so obviously I can take as far as like, you're not going to see me go out and run a mile in any record time or anything like that, but I could take a licking. I think, it's like, I mean, not necessarily like fighting or whatever, but I can take a beating. And because even on Monday, I mean, I wasn't that sore. The water was semi rough at times, but never like that Cocoa Beach rough to where, you're just taking shot after shot to where you're almost blacking out when you're taking the shot. So never really that. So, and it was hot, but it wasn't, just melting hot. So I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm the only one that can do it, but you got to be a glutton for punishment, I guess, to be to go out there and volunteer for it, I guess.
No, that's definitely a stretch and a marathon for sure, right? It's definitely in it for the long haul.
Yeah. And I mean, in it for the long haul and running the boat, on the first couple days you're running at 99%, and the last couple days you're running 110%. So just because that you have to make it to the end, and it's like a marathon that turns into a sprint. Yeah, Super Cat obviously was the highlight of the weekend, and just because the boat's so good, and Tyler and I and the team are so versed in that class that we can dominate at times. And I can feel all the guys coming. I can feel them. And that race where I think we started 9th or 10th, I forget, had to work through the field and got up there, and coming into the harbor after turn 2, it was us, Dirty Money, and SV Offshore, and we were side by side through there. And basically the outer perimeter markers, which is an orange buoy, you have to go on the outside of it, and we all went around it. And then Dirty Money got caught up in the wash and had to slow down, and then from there we were able to get past Vinny, and then, like I said before, Great L had a failure. And then it was going to be a good race because we went big on that race, and I think Great L went small, but they also had the poles, so we were going to get a chance to possibly run them down if it was possible. But when they broke, it was game over at that point, as long as we don't break, and just keep putting in our laps and do them as consistent as possible. It's one thing that I noticed when I went back and look at lap times. I mean, they're like within a second. And only time that when we would either drop and have a bad lap, it would be due to lap traffic or something like that, some other element other than the water or the wind, because the boat was running flawlessly and the team did a great job. I mean, they found in the Super Cat, they found some bearings that were going out. And I mean, if you went through the list of things that all of the crews, I mean, Greg came over and helped us with the stock boat. We had a trim cylinder fail. We pulled the engines apart and checked all the motor mounts on Saturday on the stock boat. Engine out of in the class 1 boat on the port side to replace both power steering pumps and replace that power steering line that basically cost us, a better finish on Friday, the water pumps, and then just the overall maintenance that it takes to keep the Super Cat going at the level that we want to keep it going at. I mean, and then parades and then showings and,
right.
taking the boats out to different events that Race World Offshore asks you to do it for your sponsor and stuff like that. I mean,
right.
it's a lot.
Yeah. You were constantly hustling all over the course. I mean, the course, the pits, the streets of Duval, the streets of Key
filling
West.
up CO2 cartridges for the cartridge, the whatever, the CO2 guns for the parade. All the girls and everybody getting shirts to. I mean, Ian had the sidecar out and was delivering shirts to places that we were going to have parties and events at that the crew would wear, and all the sales team. We had one dinner with them, so I saw Brett maybe twice all week. And
oh wow,
so I mean, it's that maybe 3 times. So we had dinner, and then he came by the house one time. I was chilling out and he came and talked to me, and then but they're giving demos, they're helping customers and trying to sell boats, trying to pay for this silly boat racing addiction.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the CO2 gun, I mean, you blasted me in the face with it, with the smoke gun.
I was looking for you.
Coming down Duval, and it's the first time you guys came in through the opposite direction as normal. How was that? Was it any different, or was it better?
I mean, I thought it was better.
Yeah.
I don't know. How you ask 10 people, you probably get 5 different answers. But as far as coming straight out of the Truman Annex up the one-way street that the police were blocking off, and then turning left onto Duval and coming down and then parking, the way that they were able to keep us to the starboard side of the street and leave the whole port side or left lane completely open really helped, because then you just stand on one side of the boat, basically the opposite of Sloppy Joe's. And when we first got down there, I didn't even get off the boat because, I don't know, me being short guy, crowds, I'm just literally stuck like looking at shoulders, and when you get down there, a lot of the people, I'm fortunate enough to get to talk to people that I haven't seen in a year or whatever, or even a couple of years. Like, hey, I remember meeting you here a couple of years ago, and you signed my kid's t-shirt. There was actually a couple there. I wish I knew their names, but they had pictures of their kids growing. Now the kid's taller than me, but like first picture, he's like, I'm leaning down to put my arm around him,
Oh wow.
And now the kids, and the little kid that was only 3 or 4 years old at this picture is now my height, and
that's awesome.
It's neat to see that.
Yeah,
how it makes you feel old, but it also makes you feel like you've been around and you know what you're doing, I guess. But so just to feel the meeting of the people, and that street being full. You were there, you saw them. You were up at the upstairs at Rick's, looking down, and I mean, it was one of the coolest street parties I've ever been part of, for sure.
I was also down on the street with you, and I felt that it was probably the most populated
Oh yeah.
Friday street party in recent memory anyway. I mean, there were so many people there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly correct. I've seen pictures, Dave McIntyre took a picture when he got out of the truck pulling the MCon Monster Energy Super Cat and looking back down the street in front of Rick's, and for blocks and blocks all the way through the 400, 500, 600 block, you could see in the picture, and it looks like you're looking at Mardi Gras,
Yeah,
down through there. I
right.
mean, it's crazy the amount of people that are there, and the displays of the boats is awesome. The horns and lights and all that stuff, and throwing out t-shirts and hats and
Yeah.
t-shirt cannons and CO2 guns, and I mean, it's a shit show. It's pretty cool.
So with that, I mean, so they allowed you to bring one of the two MCon Monster Energy boats down, and you
Mm-hmm.
guys brought the Super Cat,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, I think they were actually had two spots for us, but due to the fact that we had the failure, they were
Oh,
working on the boat. Yeah.
stayed back.
So,
Yeah.
I think they got it back to, they worked till about 2 or 3 in the morning that night. And then because obviously up the next morning, because we had just broke that boat on Friday. But yeah, but to have the, any of Tyler and Lindsay's boats on display is
Yeah.
always a skeptic or spectacle, because the clear hatches that they put on there and all the
Yeah.
extra lighting. It's those things that when I don't know, say part of the team, or when we're rigging the boat, I'm more worried about, we got to finish, we got to win. And,
Right.
but Tyler's like, we got to look good and we got to show our shit off. And I'm like,
Right.
and that I've been part of that through all the Anheuser-Busch years, but Tyler and Lindsay and crew are really good at it. The Monster Energy fans, people, Casey and all the group was there, and it is really something to see. You pull a boat out of the water after you win, you wash it, you flush it, you go through tech. I mean, they had rocker arms off the engines, so the guys are putting the engines back together, and we're talking, late afternoon doing all this. I like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, pull the hatch off, put the clear hatch on, get the boat tilted, get all the shirts and hats out, get in line. It's there's no rest. So
Yeah.
it's not
That
like you get to go over and sit in a chair for an hour and like collect your thoughts. It's like one thing to the next. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were
and
there before while you guys were preparing for that, and the guys are wiping down that plexiglass to make it just perfect, and
yeah.
it's pretty wild. But my question was going to be, with two of the three boats on Duval that you raced, how do you know which hat to wear? Like, how do you know which boat you're going to ride on? Which boat?
Oh, I don't know. I don't actually even think about it.
Yeah.
Performance Boat Center is who I work for, and who long term is my family, because of I've worked there for 10 years, and I don't want to discredit anything from Tyler or Lindsay,
No, of course not.
but I usually have my Performance Boat Center stuff on when I go into those events, because I don't want them to think that I'm forgetting about them because it's Monster Energy, all that stuff,
Sure.
and the other boats are bigger, and like I don't know, like you think of Super Cat in Class 1, in some people's mind they would think of that as a more premier class than stock, just because the cost of the boats is so much more. I mean, you could race 3 or 4 uh stock boats for the price of that Class 1 boat. So
Yeah.
it's like so I don't know. I like to go, and like that event, actually, I just kind of stood in between them, and the people that are my fans, or know me, just they know that hey, I'll go talk to Myrick, and I know that he's in
Right.
that boat, and I know that he's in that boat. A passerby might go like, why is that guy standing in front of the monster boat and all of his Performance Boat Center stuff? But but
Yeah.
the people that know, and I don't know.
Yeah, and
Performance
there's no
Boat
conflict
Center's a
because
big
everybody.
part of all those teams, and I like to. It always makes me proud when we can talk about that. I mean, Billy and Jake and Greg, and I mean they were a part of. Greg was is a huge asset to SV Offshore, and I mean like beyond. And
Yeah,
Billy was a huge asset to our Class 1 boat, and Jake was a huge asset to our Super Cat. Of course, Dave and Craig and Chels and Lindsay and all those are huge assets too. But they work for or are part of MCON team, all day, every day, when the other guys kind of come in, just on when there's, I don't know what you call it, times that you have to put the boat together or
yeah,
but Dave and Craig are getting good at that too, so definitely during the build process, performance boat centers, a lot of it. And when there's something that is a time crunch, like when we had the failure in Sarasota, Jake worked, for 2 weeks late every night after that to get the boat back together for, I think it was Michigan City or wherever it was. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know
Well,
what it was. It was nice last year when I had my half shirt, half Performance Boat Center, half MCON shirt on, and I could just wear that. There was a lot of times during the boat races when I'm actually racing the boats where I would make sure I was wearing the right shirt every time. So
right.
Missy's there with a backpack, and I would literally hop off the boat and hope a lot of the time go to the podium and collect our hardware and then
Right.
switch shirts and hats and hop in the next boat. So
Yeah.
yeah, Missy's saying you're welcome. She's over there, she's listening.
Right.
She
That's
said she made sure I did it. So
yeah. That's
it wasn't me doing it. It was all Missy. So
right.
she's over
And
there on
that's
the
no
cat.
small task. I mean, that's tough to keep a hold of,
Yeah,
to keep
and
track
I
of.
mean, to be honest, it's gross, but she would have to bring like multiple shirts for MCON because they're so sweat filled that you can't even get them on and off because whatever that material is like putting on a plastic bag when it's wet. It's like so. It's anyway, especially when you have to wear that silly fire suit, which
Right.
I'm always pissed about that. I mean, it's like putting a snowsuit on in a black boat to go boat racing.
Yeah.
Nice, Preston. You're in your underwear. Cute. Yeah.
Well, needless to say, speaking with Casey and Key West, and for the whole season, you guys have definitely made Monster Energy proud.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because, I was definitely nervous going into the year, and I know Tyler was. And
Yeah,
I know
that's a big responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, to think that we got a year under our belt from the time that we were actually announced last year at the sandbar in front of everybody on Green Street, and to think that that 1 year is now gone and past, and we've won 2 world championships and a second place Class 1 world championship and multiple podiums and 2 under Monster 1 national championship Super Cat. So yeah, I mean, extremely proud
No.
to be part of those teams, and to have the support of Monster Energy is pretty neat. I mean,
Yeah.
the some of the events that we've gotten to go to, Mitch and Dave and Casey went to dinner with them one night and get to know them a little bit better, going to those little personal events, and they're definitely great people.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's very cool that you guys are, part of the Monster Energy athlete list, and it's just very cool.
Yeah, we need to have Vinny back on here because he thinks it's the funniest thing ever that I'm considered an athlete. He goes, yeah, he freaking busts my balls every time. Hey, everybody, here comes an athlete. It's yeah. Yeah, we need to have him back on so we
Yeah,
can
we do
listen to
he
him.
had a really good race. Did he have some kind of failure because he was out in front with you guys?
Yeah, he was just having little gremlins with new engines. when they had them going correctly, like at the beginning of the Friday race, I mean, obviously they make some good power because they were right there. They were actually ahead of us for quite a ways, and finally worked our way around them. But they said that they could tell that the power was going away, and then it was just little stuff that they
Right.
were trying to fix through different timing curves, different fuel pressure stuff. I know that Greg was sick of working on the boat, to put it that way. And then after the Friday race, they did have a big chunk of the bottom of the boat come out, and Kyle and Greg worked on it on Friday night and Saturday. They actually didn't even get to test on Saturday because they were too busy doing body work to the bottom of the boat to get all the body filler in there, because it had it was a change to the bottom of the boat that they did when they had the 860s in it, and that change required them taking some rocker out of the boat and making more wedge so the boat would fly more level, and some of it busted out, at the end of, or maybe in the middle. Maybe it was one of the reasons they were slowing down in the Friday race also. So yeah, it was a lot of work. Kyle actually was, came in. He looked like a Casper the Ghost. I mean, just covered and dust from, spread.
Grinding on
I
everything.
think they said they bought all the body filler that they could find on in Key West and on Stock Island. It was like 5 gallons. So they put 5 gallons of body filler into the bottom of the boat, and then started sanding it down flat and painting it and all that, and it stayed together for that Sunday race. So
Nice.
yeah, but
So
another one of those things with performance boats that are helping out.
yeah, right. So what's on tap for next season's offshore race season?
I don't know. Other than the changes to the Class 1 boat right now, I mean, I guess we need to have a meeting and try to figure out, what direction we're going, and what we're gonna do. So I don't know. I look forward to seeing the schedule. I've heard that there's no Sarasota on 4th of July, which would be epic, because
Really?
I've heard that. I've heard they've moved it to maybe September or October, the Sarasota race. I
That'd
don't
be
know if
nice,
that's
just
official,
weather-wise.
and I don't know
Yeah.
about all that. I try to stay out of the politics unless it's a rule change that's pertaining to me to slow me down or whatever. But as far as schedules and stuff, that's really, I usually just have to go wherever they say to go. I know I've heard of possibly a Chicago race, which really would be cool, and then I've heard of Clearwater getting the location of the pitch change, because it's not great for everybody, which I've said in previous podcasts, but
Yeah.
things like that. And I don't know. I'm I'm excited. I'm excited to see how we can perform in the Class 1 boat. I'm excited to try to hold off other people in the Super Cat class, and I need to start working right now on the stock boat. If we think we're going to compete next year, because we took our licks, and it's not necessarily, that we did bad. It's just everybody's gotten faster. So
Yeah.
good for them. I mean, that's what makes you keep trying to innovate and think how to be faster, and things like that. And I
Right.
guarantee Tyler's wheels are turning. I mean, it never stops. You guys
Right.
do not want to have to go to battle against that guy. I'm glad he's on my team because he
Right.
is sitting there right now. I guarantee he's thinking how he's going to get better at whatever aspect of racing, of, engine program, boat, all that stuff. He's thinking about
Yeah.
it. So Yeah.
So there is no off season for Tyler.
No. No. I mean, I've been going over things just through text and class one. He's already saying that there's all these changes to class one. He goes, I want to have it done by Christmas so we can actually go out and test it before Christmas so we can.
Wow.
You're like, what?
So it sounds like
I thought we were going to. I thought we won the World Championship. I thought we were going to Disney World. I was like, no, go back
take
to
off
work.
your Mickey ears.
Yeah, I took my Mickey's and put my monster hat. Took off my Mickey ears and put my monster hat back on. Yeah. No, but the same. Everybody you're competing against doing the same thing,
right?
I guarantee Bill and Bo and Britt and their crews thinking what they're going to do. They got a little taste of the podiums and they learned a lot. I guarantee Vinny's doing the same thing. I guarantee, I heard WHM's building a new boat, so, and the class one guys, interesting to see what's going on there. I know JBS has a new boat being built. I know that I've heard, who is it? The Doug Wright team's supposedly building a class one boat. Right. So, it's interesting. I got a dog digging in the trash. Hey, get out of there. Get. Yeah. Got a dog digging in the trash behind me. The coil light. Yeah, Missy, get off the couch. It's her home. Yeah, so it's literally I just want to go fishing for a little bit. Now the weather's dropping. We got back on Wednesday, went to work, working on a re-rig of a skater and a Mystic, trying to make them some, badass projects. Got the performance powerboat stuff going on, rigging a new 32 outboard race cap for a good customer with the 300Rs, and then went fishing and got a tournament this weekend with my buddy Corey Steckler, and it's called the Turkey Classic, and it's a benefit for Marie Terrell, who was killed in a boating accident, and we want to. It's also actually I got my Big Bass Bash shirt on. So for you that don't know, I love boat racing, I love bass fishing, and I really like the Detroit Lions and the St. Louis Cardinals. So that, and I know Ray, if you don't know, Ray's a big Cowboys fan. So
I am.
I think they're the most popular team in. Oh yeah, there you go. So most popular team in football, probably one of the most popular.
They're on fire this season. So
yeah, and they got a defense that's unstoppable. Yeah. So yeah, and who knows? It might be the NFC Championship, the Detroit Lions and the Dallas
Cowboys. Both of our teams play on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah,
every year.
Coming up this weekend. I got the Packers, and who do you play there? Washington Redskins?
The Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders. Yeah, they're still the Redskins to me.
Right, same. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? No, I don't play the Broncos. I play Packers. NFC North battle.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're gonna run triple duty again next season.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The biggest thing to me is, I mean, I don't know. It keeps me on top of my game. Right now, if you go out and put me in a boat, I could probably drive it. After this season, and yeah. I don't know. Oh, dogs, attack dogs. Yeah. So I don't know. I really like the competition, and if I'm there to race and there's races going on, I mean, if you're good at it, why, and somebody wants you to do it, why not be in it? Right.
Right.
Because I don't know. And, the crew members, do the hard work, the heavy lifting. They make sure the boats are washed and the water right setup. I give
Yeah.
my input on propeller weight, stuff like that. But you go into the transport of it. I'm not involved in that. I pretty much fly in, lucky enough to do that because I hauled them around for years for Dave Scott, and
Yeah.
them guys. It's brutal. I mean, my grandpa was a teamster, and many. I mean, I don't know how them guys do it day in and day out. Talk about rough on your body. I'd probably be more sore from driving from Key West pulling a boat than I would racing in Key West in a boat.
85 laps.
Yeah, 85 laps is way better than driving it from, you know.
Yeah.
You act like big tough guy drove it. I don't know what 85. What's 85 times 4.7? That's how many miles? It's got to be close to 400 miles, right? So, 400 miles is
Yeah.
way easier than 1400
Right.
or 1300 or whatever it is. I know
Yeah.
it's like when coming from Missouri, once you get to Florida, you got another day and a half to get to Key West. So,
Right. No kidding.
yeah. And Missy says, don't ride with me because it's scary. Yeah.
So what do
she's heavily opinionated though.
you're kidding?
Yeah, and she lets everybody know it too.
Yeah, she got a new
Missy
tattoo.
got her annual Key West tattoo.
Yeah.
She got the what is it? The deuces, the peace sign. She got a peace sign on her arm.
I got a picture of that. Yeah.
There's my Key West tattoo. We actually we're looking for one on the Monday. I don't know, drinking afternoon, and we procrastinated too long. Thank goodness that we couldn't find a tattoo parlor open. Yeah. That's what I said. I forget what I said to somebody. Oh yeah, if somebody would have had a needle and an ink pen, we'd have been out on the streets giving each other tattoos. So thank goodness nobody had a needle and an ink pen, or did they have
some shitty tattoo on you now?
Yeah.
That sounded like a great idea at the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, we were in Vinny's golf cart, traveling up and down the streets, looking like overloaded. And then Jason and the crew from Performance Boat Center had the Groms out, so they met up with us after we had left Dante's, and it was pretty neat going up and down the streets. I had the music jamming on Vinny's 6-person golf cart, and Vinny's choice of music's pretty hilarious, from NWA to and to Alabama. Yeah, it's from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah.
And and everybody's, even on the streets, are just arms pumping in the air when that thing's rolling through all loud. And then we had all the Groms, and we had Ian was on there with Avery, and she's riding in the sidecar on the Grom. It's a spectacle. So it was a neat Monday afternoon, and I'm glad Jason and Ian and all of them hung out and did that, because and Kyle, he had been working, so all the guys work so hard, and it's like, oh, you got one more, you want to go one more day? I'm like, one more day of just trying to unwind a little bit before you go drive for 2 or 3 more days,
Right.
So yeah, we drove back on Tuesday in Mark's Jeep to Fort Lauderdale, and it's raining the whole time. And I mean, I was pissed to drive from Key West to Fort Lauderdale and get on a plane. I wouldn't have known what I'd have done if I'd had to drive from Key West to Dalton, Georgia to Lake of the Ozarks. I've been back for it's funny, you get back to work and you work a whole day and you're like, wonder what Greg's doing over there. And you're like, Greg's still driving. It's like, it's like you're still driving another day, and you've been back to work for a day, doing your thing. It's like, just funny how it's like out of sight, out of mind, and how much driving everybody has to do to get to Key West to participate in this World Championship. It's like going to another country as far as, far away.
It's definitely a commitment, especially for all the race teams to bring all that stuff down. And
I totally get it when Bob talks about it, how when he was on the West Coast and then he would want to come down and, go race Key West. I don't know how many Key West races he attended, but we're centrally located and I'm bitching about it, let alone,
right.
Being West Coast and, having to do it. I mean, how long does it take you to fly down there? It's got to be 3 or 4 hours, right?
So we fly from the West Coast. I flew out of LAX to Miami, landed in Miami, met up with the guys, and then so that's about a 5-hour flight. And
Yeah.
that's on a nonstop, and then get a car and then drive down to Key West because we have so much
Which
gear.
is another 3.5, 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah. So from doorstep to 12 hours, flying and driving. So
it's
12
a long
hours
travel day. And
Yeah,
then by the
long
time we get to
travel
Key
day.
West, we have to go to the grocery store, stock up for the week, and charge batteries, and hit the ground running the next day because that's race day 1. We get in on Tuesday, the day before first race day. So it's a grind.
You guys did a great job too. All of your footage was awesome. I mean,
thanks, Myrick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really was.
I mean, we were. It's funny because it was me, Tom Lee, and Carter Body, and photographer and videographer, and for the most part we try to be at every event that there is. But this year, for maybe it was just the season that we had all year, but we were just smoked. And a couple nights we decided to stay in, which was kind of nice, and we just got some editing done and some videos done and all that other stuff. And so it was kind of nice not to be out every single night.
We did the same thing, and I don't know, we probably, out of our however many days we were there, for Saturday till Tuesday, maybe 3 nights we stayed in, and very fortunate that the house we were in on there in the Truman Annex was gorgeous. I mean,
Nice.
If you told me that I could stay in that house every time, I'd be like, can we stay longer? Because it was on point. Had a nice little pool out back and a beautiful kitchen, so everybody could congregate. And like you said, go and get food for the for your meals and stuff like that. And the girls cooked breakfast, and then there was a grill outside, and we had burgers one night, and tacos another night.
Yeah, we grilled burgers one night too. Just stayed in. And
I mean,
the glamorous life, right?
Yeah. It's funny though, when you're getting up at 5:30 every day to be at a 6:30, event, whether it's physicals, it's usually 6:30 physicals. So you got to be there, and then you go through the longest drivers meeting was about an hour and a half. And I saw Roderick on the Monday where you're leaving, and he was spent. I mean, he's voice is, I was like, so are you glad this is over? He's like, oh man. Not only the weeks that lead up to it, but then the actual event where he's got to be in front of everybody answering questions and getting bitched at. It's one of those things that's like, most of the time people aren't telling you how good of a job you're doing. They're just usually telling you what they want, and stuff like that. So, and it's just the nature of the beast of being a promoter from that aspect.
No, but Larry and Roderick and the whole team over there did an amazing job, and I think this was definitely one for the books. And congratulations to you on what an amazing season you guys had with the Monster Energy MCon boats. And
thank you very much.
Boat Center. I mean, you guys kept together.
Yeah, I mean, from the race support that Performance Boat Center does, obviously I wish we'd have done better in the stock boat, not only on the season but at Key West. But the support that we gave the Millers and the SV Offshore, and even advice to other teams on what to do and things like that, I feel like we try to be there for everybody, and and it's what it's one of the main reasons that Mark and Brett, even sponsor that event. I mean, it costs a lot of money to sponsor that event. And they just want everybody to know that we're out there trying our best, and trying to make the right decisions, and trying to keep people boating, not only race boating but pleasure boating. And we had Christian, the whole crew from the South Florida store, We had, the new GM, Jeff Corbell there. We had all those people down there in Key West trying to keep people boating and trying to keep people having fun. And whether it was bringing trailers down because people didn't want to come back on Sunday or Monday because the weather was kind of rough, or whether it was, hey, my vessel view saying there's an alarm, and you send somebody over there and they try to take care of it, find a part and get it taken care of, or diagnose the problem and tell them that it's good to go or not good to go. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, you
No.
guys at Speedboat Magazine did a great job too, though. I mean, without you guys, all these people that are back home wouldn't get to see all of it. So kudos to you. I know Missy was trying to shoot a lot of footage and send it back to Carson because Carson had a wedding, our new videographer, and
Yeah.
he got some of it put out there. But she was like, "Man, I can't believe how much work this is. Even just using your iPhone or whatever to shoot a video and then take the time to get it sent and then ask questions, and I mean, it takes a lot of time."
Well, I appreciate you saying so. So thanks. And also thanks to everybody that came up to us all week, giving us compliments on this podcast, the Boats and Bros podcast. It was cool listening to all the people that say they listen or watch. And,
I was really surprised. I mean, it had to happen, at least 20 times, I'd say.
Yeah.
So maybe all the 20 people that listen to this thing actually came up and told us.
They were all in Key West.
Yeah, they were all in Key West. They're like, hey, and there was people that, I didn't know. They like, hey, Boats and Bros is my thing. I listen to him at the gym, or, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, it kind of gives me the reason to spend, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I always say, hey, I'm just there talking. Ray's the one that does all the editing and everything. So he puts in a lot more time than I do. But what a lot of people don't realize is, I even told the guys in the pits, I mean, like, get yourself a YouTube account and like and subscribe, because we meet all the parameters on getting money to do this other than our subscribers. So yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are like, oh really? There. I didn't know how it worked. And I'm like, yeah, it's as easy as getting a Google account, logging into YouTube, and then because I was like, yeah, I know, I always hit subscribe to, and then it will say, you have to log into your account. And I'm like, man, I don't even remember my YouTube account name or whatever, So I'm like, and so I was telling Jason all that in the pits, because even all the guys on my crew, I was like, do you like him? Subscribe? They go, no. I was like, you dicks, get on there and do it. They always tell me they listen to it, but then they don't even, not all my friends aren't even liking and subscribing it. So get on there and hit the log in, get yourself a password. It's funny.
Please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we were trying to think. I was like, should we have like one of them? Everybody else like say, let's raffle off a car, or
Yeah, right.
Let's do something. You better like and subscribe, or we're not. So it'd be funny, like raffle off a boat ride or something like that.
And I met the very first person that said they did not like your drunk Brett Manier episode.
Oh yeah, my mom said she didn't like it.
Not your mom, that guy at the PBC after party.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. He said I had to turn that one off. He's drunk. I'm like, I was like, well, you and my mom are exactly the same. He says he likes listening to all the other.
Nothing better than coming to a strange area and having 8 people screaming at you about how to drive. There's only a couple turns, but everybody has
there was 2 turns, and I messed up one of them.
We actually went to the wrong VRBO, and we're pounding down numbers and couldn't get in, so I went to the back door, and I'm like,
and it been a 2-hour ride, and I peed behind the bush. Sorry, whoever's.
There's like iced tea brewing in this pool. I'm like,
fuck's
this is an awful
sake,
nice place to be
way.
And we were at lane, not road, or road versus lane. I don't know. So if you're a follower,
it was literally
very
lane.
Sorry that Myrick Coil of Lake Ozark peed in your yard.
He's bought boats from PBC. Good dude.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, congratulations again, Myrick. What a huge accomplishment. National champion.
Thanks. It's definitely not all me. It's definitely all the teamwork from the Performance Boat Center team. I mean, even our mascot, Brett, he's there grinding every day, trying to get it all done. But the Miller family, a lot invested into it. All of our crew, Dave, Craig, Chelsea, Missy for me, Lindsay for Tyler, all the people that, basically put up with our grouchy, grumpy asses and late nights and, dedicated. It's what it takes, being dedicated and giving it your all. And it's amazing what you can accomplish when it's a team doing things like that. So
absolutely.
I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but it's true. I mean, just grind it out.
Well, it was hard fought and well deserved, and congratulations. So,
thanks,
and happy
Ray.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Yeah,
go Lions, and
go Cowboys.
I don't think I'm gonna say go Cowboys. So
this has been another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro Myrick Coil, world champion, national champion again. And please remember to subscribe, like, share, and rate. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.